And as you can see from the sign, we're near Eureka Ridge Road, it's 2 miles that way, and Johnsville 5 miles to the right. We're going to Johnsville on this better road. I'm still in 4-wheel drive high range. The reason for using 4-wheel drive high range on this road is that it does give me better steering control in places where you can actually accelerate. Also gives me deceleration compression braking, and it's a loose traction surface, and that is a requirement when you're shifting to 4-wheel drive with a part-time transfer case, which the Rubicon model has. This is just a short stretch, and first gear in high range 4-wheel drive seems to be sufficient here. I'm not touching the brakes, and that's all that matters. I find myself using the brakes more than I'd like. I'd stop the vehicle completely, put it in neutral, shift to low range, and use my gears in low range. Again, we're straddling this ravine. I keep the vehicle as level as possible. That's the goal. Look at the road like a mosaic. Your goal is to keep the vehicle high and level. One thing you want to remember at this altitude, we're still over 6,000 feet, we're over 6,100 feet, is that it's going to dehydrate. You want to drink a lot of water. You want to stay hydrated. Bear in mind that when you come to these elevations, your body has to adjust. Your hemoglobin level in your blood does not carry enough oxygen for this elevation, and it takes a few days to acclimate. I would recommend that you don't push yourself or stay in the area that's 7,000 feet elevation above where you normally live. It's certainly not the day to take that strenuous hike to the top of the nearest peak. To have a bicyclist ahead of us, so I'm going very slow here. We're going downhill together, and I don't want to press that individual. There is some water crossing the road. Good place to just go slowly. Even though it's green, the fire hazard is high. As you can see earlier, there's a major forest fire raging in this region. The news reports are saying that it's 3,000 acres and they're trying to contain it. Be cautious when you're in an area that you're permitted to have a campfire. Be extremely safe with it and cautious about putting the fire out and making sure it's completely out before you leave your camp. Don't park your 4-wheel drive vehicle in tall grass off the trail. The catalytic converter is extremely hot. Set brush on the fire. Be the start of the forest fire. So be very cautious about that. Keep in mind that you're sharing this road in terms of recreation. Here's the situation. We've got a vehicle coming the other way, and it's obvious one of us is going to have to turn out. So he's coming up the hill, and I'm going to use an old rule of thumb. I'm going to back up because he can't drive past me here. And in fact, he's not even slowing down, so he has no interest in trying to get around me. So use your skills and back up to a place where the vehicle can get around you. Okay, we're still backing up here because there are a number of vehicles coming. They're going to get out of our way because we have the group of kids. When you're driving on single directional roads like this, you really do need to use your backing up skills. These roads were originally wagon roads developed in mining areas, and they're sturdy. Remember that all dirt roads are susceptible to weather conditions. Heavy winters. A road that looks good one year isn't necessarily in good shape the next, so drive cautiously and read the trail. Dropping elevation steadily this whole way. We're down to 5,795 feet now. would be a really good choice if you're doing more backcountry driving and don't need the extra room. The wheelbase is 99 inches instead of 116, and that makes a big difference on rocky terrain and roads. Trade-offs between a short wheelbase and long wheelbase Jeep JK Wrangler have to do with rideability on the highway and backcountry access in terms of breakover angle. If you do a lot of four-wheeling, you don't have needs kit-wise or equipment-wise for a four-door. The two-door would be inspiration for backcountry use. If, on the other hand, you have a family and a lot of equipment, a vehicle like the unlimited Rubicon JK Wrangler four-door that we're driving is optimal as long as you consider the breakover angle and the difference between a 116-inch wheelbase and a 99-inch wheelbase. You can offset that breakover angle issue by installing a lift kit with aftermarket tires. At 4WD Mechanix with an X magazine, I talk endlessly about the trickle-down effects of lift kits and oversized tires. It isn't as simple as let's do a lift kit and oversized tires. There are a number of other issues that are attendant to that, so if you go to a lift with oversized tires, take that into consideration. Magazine site www.4WDMechanix.com, and pay close attention to lift kits in the comments that I make about the trickle-down effects in terms of axle gearing, speedometer error, and issues such as that. The bicyclists passed us. We're now going to pass them again, but we're going to wait for a safe place and not pressure them to race down a hill. I'm not in a hurry. There's nobody right behind me, and I can't see the vehicle in front of me. They're well ahead of us. So I'm taking my time, allowing these bicyclists to enjoy this trail. They've stopped now and pulled over. I'll pass them again. At least in the far west, there's no shortage of drive outlets and trails, designated trails that can be any degree of challenge. So it's important to observe the tread lightly rules, stick to the trails, stay on designated trails, know what the fire hazards are in a given area. It's already been a large forest fire raging in this region, and it would be disastrous if a fire ever erupted near kids with disabilities. In some areas in national forests, there's a requirement to carry an axe, a bucket, a shovel, and water. Those are always smart things to add to your accessories list if you're out with a Jeep vehicle for off-pavement use extensively. A lot of aftermarket accessories available, some for Mopar, others for other industries, Bestop, and so forth. The magazine, again, is a good source for comments, evaluations of products. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm very pragmatic about what you need and what you don't need. You may have noticed by now that quite a bit of this road is alongside the roadblocks, so it's obviously a place to keep your attention on the trail. Again, we're not in a speed contest. Straddle your ravines, know where your axles are. Don't stand on the brakes on the top of a rock because you approached it too quickly. You'll compress the springs, which reduces your ride height, and the frame goes lower to the ground and compromises your ground clearance. So if you see an obstacle down the road or on the trail, slow down before you get to it. Make sure your suspension is fully extended so you have the maximum ground clearance. Vehicles with lift kits are no exception to that rule. You can have a lift kit to slam on your brakes and still compress the suspension and find that you've compromised the ground clearance. This JK Wrangler Rubicon Unlimited Edition has made easy work of the entire route. We're in the market for a new vehicle, a four-wheel drive utility vehicle without for interest. This is a vehicle to set your sights on. There are some things that Jeep just won't compromise, and one of them is tractability. capability and genuine off-pavement capability. We're now on pavement. I'll shift to two-wheel drive. I'm now in two-wheel drive, high range. And still using my gears instead of my brakes. This is Upper Jameson Creek Campground. We're actually near the Eureka State Park, if you're trying to find this locale on a map. And that's it for our off-road evaluation. I had a grand time. I trust you did too.